Why is Ethereum pumping? If you watch this video until the end, you're going to have a complete understanding of why Ethereum is going up, why it's going up quickly, and why it could continue. I'm your host, Bill Noble. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. All right, let's get right into it. Ethereum is benefiting from a favorable regulatory environment in crypto. And you're like, what does that mean? Well, that means players like BlackRock are free to take Ethereum, hold it in inventory, and then just wait for investors to come in and buy this ETF. And what's an ETF again? An ETF is like a container, right? That represents, Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? You put the Ethereum inside the container, right? And then that container can be bought or sold on any stock market platform. So all of a sudden, you got all those guys with Charles Schwab accounts and Ameritrade and Morgan Stanley or high-end brokerage firms can all of a sudden diversify their portfolios by buying the Ethereum ETFs. And that would account for ETH being like, right near its all-time highs in the middle of August because the supply is dwindling because basically BlackRock and all these investment banks are draining out the Ethereum so that stock market investors can get involved. There's also another twist where tech stocks seem way overvalued, like say Microsoft and Nvidia, and people see substantial upside in Ethereum, especially since Ethereum was down at 1,400 this year. And it spent a lot of time around 2,000 and people just frankly gave up about it. They gave up on it. So this is all happening kind of quietly. It was, quietly, then suddenly in Ethereum, which makes sense because again, when the ETF guys come in, and frankly, the crypto people had given up, right? Assuming that Solana or another layer one was going to eat ETH lunch. Well, it didn't turn out that way, did it? And if you compare the fundamentals in Ethereum to say 2021 was a pump based on just the fact that the reaction to central banks pumped $14 trillion collectively into markets in 1 month. No joke. This time, the rally in Ethereum is about functionality, the ETF, the layer twos, the additional highways where you could run all of finance on Ethereum. And don't forget, just like Big Brother Bitcoin, it can act as money. And then, of course, it's got a spokesperson, right? It's got Tom Lee, who recently joined a firm that's buying ETH to put on his balance sheet, also called an ETH Treasury company. And then naturally, because BlackRock wants you to buy their ETF, they want you to, get Ethereum through them. They're on shows, also known as being on the tape, and basically saying, hey, buy Ethereum through us. And these cycles of revolution and evolution are fantastic crypto themes. In other words, when you see Ethereum act and pumping the way it has been in August, this wakes up a lot of people. People go, hey, wait a minute. Maybe this crypto thing is for real and I need to get involved, right? Some people can get involved through IRA or retirement accounts, and even some 401ks in mutual funds are starting to add not just Bitcoin, but also the Ethereum ETF. Not to mention, the SEC has confirmed that these ETFs can also engage in staking. So they'll have your Ethereum that goes in your ETF, and they will also be able to take that Ethereum and stake it and get yield. Now, I know this is kind of a mind-blowing thing. I'm saying that somebody can hold Ethereum on your behalf and then take that Ethereum and maybe get interest on it from a process in crypto called staking. This makes ETH way more attractive. You also have to wonder what anyone was thinking with Ethereum down at like 2,000, right? Absolutely crazy that everybody was out there looking for it, and everybody was like, Oh, I don't like it. But BlackRock was looking for it. So, I mean, if you have a 200% gain from the all-time high, ETH could go to 10,000, and then a 250% gain could be 12,000. These targets are not unrealistic. They're not unrealistic at all because, people don't realize that the market cap of Ethereum right now is 500 billion. Now you're like, is that a lot of money? Well, not if you compare it to Ethereum or NVIDIA or Microsoft that have valuations of like 4 trillion. So there's a lot of catching up to do. And there's a lot of catching up to do with cryptos inside the ecosystem that could catch up with Ethereum. Solana's market cap is nowhere near what Ethereum and Bitcoin. I mean, Solana is worth like 10 or 11 billion. Ethereum is worth 555 billion, right? And you also have the tokenization trend. In other words, you have a $27 trillion US Treasury market that could wind up trading on chain, right? In other words, the best way to expand government debt is to have government debt trading in unique places where it can find new use cases, like being used to create stable coins or act as collateral for even bigger crypto purchases. Now, where is that all going to happen? That could happen on Ethereum. And there's like the Genius Act and the Clarity Act and all these acts and all these laws that have been put in place by Uncle Sam that just make it so much easier for something like Ethereum to become a financial highway that the entire financial system runs on. Now, if you look at cycles, if you look at, the 4-year cycle in crypto, you're going to learn something funny. You're going to learn that the 4-year crypto cycle of all the way up and all the way down, huge rallies followed by 90% declines is not going to happen anymore. Yes, you might have severe corrections. You might have 40 to 50% down. But this time when Ethereum goes to 5,000, yeah, it can move around, but it could also get really sticky at these prices. Because Ethereum, traditionally, when it corrects, it goes sideways. That allows other cryptos like Chainlink or VeChain or, Lido or other types of DeFi plays like Pendle or Uniswap or Aave or even Binance Coin, similar layer ones, XRP and Solana. You can't have an altcoin rally without an ETH rally. Well, guess what? You just got the Ethereum rally of your dreams. So not only do you know why Ethereum is pumping, but you know the after effects of that. So if you stayed for this whole video, congratulations. You now understand why ETH is pumping. And if you got a lot out of this video, you should definitely subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and come back again for future videos.